All right, guys, what is up? So, we're going straight into it. Today is the 12th of July, 2022, and it is the Asian session. So, let's begin. So, I'm going to go straight into my chart today. All right, and we're going to try and see if we could capture anything. If we can, we will, and if we can't, we won't. All right, so just put in the chat for me. Just put in chat for me if you can see my screen, and we will get the thing started. Just let me know. Just type a Y for yes, you can see, or no for N for no. Quickly. Yes, can I all see my screen? Beautiful, excellent. All right, so what we're doing tonight is I'm already in a trade, right? But we'll talk about that just now. What I want to do, if you realize I've taken my moving averages off of the chart, and it is because I want to showcase something that I have found to be quite powerful, right? Especially in understanding direction, right? What I know used to give me a lot of trouble is really understanding what the market is doing at present, right? And what I mean by that is it consolidating? Is it in momentum? It's actually quite hard, especially when you have your chart like this, when you're looking at the market like this. It's quite hard to understand what the market is doing. And if you look at certain currency pairs, let me see if I can find one. So like this, right? If you have your, so this is AUD like this is not necessarily a market that is moving. Would you agree with that? This is not necessarily a market that's moving. It's actually somewhat in a range, and it's been in a range for quite some time. If you look at it, right, it's sideways. It's not, I mean, yeah, you could say that the high, the absolute high to the absolute low is about a 300 plus pip range, right? But it is still a range. And if we want the big moves, we want price to be outside of a ranging market so that it can continue theoretically, right? What I tend to try to do is one, this is the first thing, zoom out all the way. All right. So I zoom out all the way and I'm looking to see, okay, the bigger picture. So looking at this, I could say from the 8th of June all the way to now, it is actually somewhat bearish, but it looks like it's within a range. Something that I don't know if a lot of people know that they can do, right? Watch this, is you can use these down here to help you understand what is happening. A lot of people don't even know what these are for. So what this is, so let's just say for the, because we're in July, for the month of, let's just say for the last 3 months, I want to know what AUDJPY has been doing. I click this, and what this does is it changes the time frame for me, but it gives me exactly 3 months worth of data. So if I know for the last 3 months that AUDJPY has, again, you can see it, it's been, we can actually kind of draw it here. You can see range, move, range, move, range, move, range, move, range, move. And you can see it, right? So for the past 3 months, you can see the ranges, you can see the moves. Now, this is not what is actually important by virtue of trying to figure out what, where the range is and where the move is. And that's not what I'm trying to show you. What I tend to do is I'm going to say, okay, for the last month, so I'm clicking 1 month, 1M. I'm looking to see over the last month what price would have done. Now you can click on the monthly time frame, but the monthly time frame, what it's going to do is it's just going to show you everything since 1993, right? What this does down here is it actually shows you exactly 1 month of data from current price. So I know for the last month what has been happening. Now, I know based on what I'm seeing here is, yes, you're seeing some moves, but it's mostly within a range. Now let's go to a pair or let's go to another pair, say something like AUD right? And let's go to the 1 month. You can see something clearly different. Can we say that AUD has been in a range over the last month? This is exactly 1 month of data. Does it look like it's been in a range, or does it look like it is bearish? Now, we can say that the last currency pair, which was AUD was also bearish, but it's more in a range than this. Now, earlier this week, I would have spoken about Euro USD continuing to sell past this low. This was on Monday, right? And people didn't believe me. People were saying, boy, it's on the previous low, it's on the most lowest low and the lowest low. So you think when they're going to buy from here. But if we use the data over the last month, all right, we could even say we could say half of the month, right? You can say that it has been in a range, your USD has been in a range for at least half of the month, and then the other half of the month it has been bearish. This is data that you can use to your advantage because let me just say, one of the things that I tend to try to teach is if price is in momentum, do not go against it. Don't go against it. When price is in momentum, the only time you should be trying to go against it is if a reversal is clear. I see this almost every single time you all meet with me. So what is one of the biggest things or the biggest lessons I've learned is if I can identify what the momentum is, and there is valid momentum, it's actually a lot easier to find an entry. And in a case like this, if you look at this, this is the last known low where people would have been buying. People would have been placing buy stops here, buy limits, blah, 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 blah. But not buy stops, buy limits, right? Thinking that it's going to go down to this area and then come back up, right? But the problem with that is there is no confirmation that this right at this moment here, if we use the replay function, there's no confirmation that at this moment here on your USD that is prime for reversal. The reason why it's not prime for reversal is one of the next things that I do is in order for me to confirm a reversal, price needs to reverse against something. So in other words, if there's no trend or confirmed trend, we cannot confirm that it is a reversal because price is not going to reverse against nothing. It has to reverse against something. And what does it typically reverse against? A valid trend. In this case, I would not consider this to be a valid trend because there are only 2 touches, and I typically tend to use 3 as a valid trend. So because I know that this is only 2 touches on this trend, as we say, over the last 30 days, this is not enough information for me to say, right, yes, it has created a trend, therefore it makes sense to reverse. That being said, it is not a clear reversal, and that's the law that I stand by. When price is in momentum, if there's no clear reversal, do not go against the momentum. That being said, the momentum is down. It's not a clear reversal, so don't go against down. Now, I didn't have an entry based on my entry criteria, but for those of you who use break and retest, look at this. It breaks, it retests, and then it continues. Right? And that is one of the most simple ways that you can actually engage with the market. Notice the words that I'm using. I am not saying easy. I am saying simple. Simple means it's not a lot of steps. Easy means there's not a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort, obviously, to be able to analyze and understand what it is you're looking at and all of that, right? Excuse me. But the main thing is the steps are not, it's not a lot of steps. Now, let's break down the trade that I am in currently. I don't know if it's winning. I don't know if it's losing. I don't know. Nor do I care. All right. But I'm currently in sells on Euro CHF. Let's explore why. So let's do the same thing that I did just now. So let's look at the last 6 months of data. The last 6 months of data, we can say that yes, okay, cool. It has been in a range, something looking like a range. But I would say the last month, all right, the last month is actually quite important, showing me a lot of bearish momentum. Let us confirm that to make sure that it's at least a month of momentum, right? So let's come down to the 3-month cycle now. You can see it's been in a range for most of the 3 months, but then the last month, you can see that it has been bearish. We're going on to the 1 month now. You can tell that from the start of June all the way to now, right? So was that the 13th of June all the way to now, Euro CHF has been bearish. Cool. That's a good sign. So I'm looking at Euro CHF, knowing that it's bearish. It makes sense for me to try to treat the market like it is going to continue. Why am I saying that? Remember, I just said the law is you do not go against the momentum unless a reversal is clear. So let's figure out, in order for the market to reverse, it has to have a trend. Let's see if there's a trend. Can we see? And this is something I want to make sure that is clear as well, right? A trend should not be forced. So if you have to do this and you have to do this to kind of find the trend, you're done already. You know you start bad. It should always be something that is automatic, right? Cool. So I'm saying, okay, good. Euro CHF has a trend. Great. So now I know that if there is a trend, because that's clear. Now I know that if this is a trend, it makes sense that it should reverse off of this low. Correct? What do y'all think about that? Because if it is a reversal, it should create either a inverse head and shoulders because it's a buy possibility, or a W pattern. Does everybody agree with that? What do y'all think about that? Does everybody agree? Does anybody disagree? Does anybody have anything else that they would use as a criteria to consider reversal? What would you use? Would you use anything else? That's what I use. All right. And you're welcome to tell me what you use. All right. So for me, what I'm doing, I'm looking for price to, at the very least, get back to this area. Because I know that in order for it to reverse, it should theoretically get back to this area to create the second leg of the W, or maybe create an inverse head and shoulders. So it could do maybe something like that, inverse head and shoulders, and then go up, right? Or create the second leg of the W. So you have one leg, two legs, and then reverse. Now, people say that this style has been stolen from Steve Morrow and blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something. How I look at this, it is actually very simple. Because if you notice, I am not buying it. I am selling it. Right? I just said that if I am anticipating a reversal, I am actually selling it. But if I mean, it's already selling. So if I'm anticipating a reversal, why am I selling it? Because that's just the thing. The momentum currently is synonymous with sells, and it hasn't gotten to the area in which where I think right at this very moment is synonymous with a buy. But I think it's going to try to get there at the very least, right? Because I mean, it makes at least to me it makes sense, right? Now, what if we go to a lower time frame, and if you realize the lower time frame, you could actually see again the consolidation of the Asian session coming in here. You can see that the momentum has significantly decreased, right? You can see decreasing momentum. You can see the momentum has almost all stopped, all right? And I have a 10 pip stop loss on this trade, as you can see here, right? Now, what is interesting is this trade could stop me out tonight. It could stop me out tomorrow morning. It could stop me out while I'm asleep, while I'm awake. I am very okay with that. And I'm doing this live in front of you. I think I took a loss live last time I was on the call as well. Here's the thing. What if I'm right? What if I'm right and it's not going to hit, it's not going to reverse off of this area. It's not going to create an inverse head and shoulders. What if I'm right and it's going to actually break this area and continue down? What if I'm right? Let's now look at the 6-month structure to see if there's anything at the previous low. Okay, so the 6-month structure isn't saying anything. Let's look at some previous areas to see where your CHF could possibly try to go. So the 1 year, so 1 year of data, this is the lowest it has ever been. The 5 years of data, this is literally the lowest it has been in 5 years. What a lot of people, my friends, would say at this point is your CHF can't go any lower. It has been the lowest it has ever been. Maybe we should buy it now because it's selling for too long. How many times have you heard people say that? How many times have you said that to yourself? That it has been selling for too long and it have to buy from now, or it has been buying for too long. What goes up must come down. You understand? How many times have you said that to yourself? How many times have you heard people say that only to realize that it keeps on buying or it keeps on selling? What do you all think? What if I'm right? If I am right, my risk would have been 10 pips, and God alone knows where the next place it can get to. What if I'm wrong? How much am I losing? I can lose 10 times in a row. If I am right and I get the trade that I want, my friends, if I get the trade that I want in terms of a risk-reward ratio, I could lose 8, 9, 10 times in a row. One trade could make it all back for me. And then some. And I have done that time and time and time again. Now, let's talk about something. I know that a lot of people are probably wondering, so what was the criteria for me entering here? So I'm looking now, I'm using, so again, no EMAs. The reason why I took the EMAs off is because a lot of people get confused. A lot of people think that this is an EMA strategy. No, it's not. The EMAs are only there to add. They're only there to add to the fact or add to the power of me getting a precise entry. That's it. They're only there to add. But the EMAs can also be wrong because the EMAs react to the average of price. So it's very likely that if I put EMAs on right now, because price is smoothing out, that the EMAs will also smoothen out and then give me a false signal, right? So for me, I can take them off, I can put them on, I can trade with or without them. The reason why I entered is because I'm using pure price action. When people say that they trade price action, but yet they draw in all kind of craziness on the chart, that's not pure price action. Pure price action is when you're looking at what the candles are doing and making decisions based off of that. Because price action is the action of price. And how do you measure price? With your candles or any of these tools here, any of these methods here. Bars, hollow candles, columns, line graph, whatever. I like either the line graph or candles, but we know people use Heiken-Ashi. We know people use Renkos. We know people use Kagis, right? And if you don't have experience with any of these, or I don't know what's going on. If you don't have experience with any of these, then don't waste your time. Candles is probably one of the most detailed things that you could probably use, right? But I digress. Price action is the action of price. Let me make that clear. So if you cannot base an analysis and an entry on what the candles are doing, no indicator, in my opinion, no indicator is going to give you a clearer picture than the candles because they themselves are indicators. Does anybody disagree with that? What do y'all think? The candles themselves are indicators. What do y'all think? Excuse me. So for me, what I'm doing now is I'm looking at the candles and I'm looking to see what I can do. So let's zoom in now. We're on 50-minute time frame, which is where I entered. So let's look at the last D worth of data, which will be this. So we're on the 1 minute time frame, and this is the last day worth of data, right? So you can see the day starts here, right? So sorry, my bad. Let's look at the previous day. My apologies. Right? So the previous day would be this, right? So this is the previous day's worth of data from here to here, right? So I know that it has created an ultimate low, and I know that at present it is currently about 10 or a little less than 20 pips away from the previous low. So that at the very least, my target is a 1 to 2 minimum, right? Minimum 1 to 2. Now, here's the thing. Price is on an area here where if we're looking at the action of price, I'm just highlighting this here to show you. If we're looking at the action of price, what is this? What can this be highlighted as? Anybody knows? What do you think what do you think the masses might be looking for in this area? Anybody knows? What do you all think? If we're trying to psych out price action, what do you think the masses are going to be doing in these areas? Very good. Support, right? Now, am I saying support doesn't work? No, it works when it wants to. I digress. But in my opinion, because I know that it is at an all-time low and people are going to be trying to buy it at this all-time low, it makes sense for me to not align myself with what everybody trying to do because we know that the masses are around 90-95% of the time. So that's a confluence right there. Another confluence is the fact that, again, it is holding steady within this trend line per se, right? So that's another thing. Another thing that I'm using to kind of confirm my bias and analysis and entry is you can actually see where price is creating lower highs and lower lows, right? And we can look lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. There's a higher high, and then you have same thing, and it starts again, but it's still all underneath the trend. So this is good. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? So that's good. All of this is data that I can use, and I intend on using it. This doesn't mean that I'm going to draw a trend because you know that when people hear lower high, lower low, they are automatically drawing a trend. What I am doing, I'm using this as data unanimously with everything else that I'm seeing to paint a picture by using the candles. So now let's actually pay attention to the candles themselves to see what it is they are doing. So let's go back on the 50-minute time frame now, right? And we're looking. So now we realize, we can remove this. Now we realize that there's this big black candle before the market close. This big black candle with this big wick to the downside. What this means is, in my opinion, what this means is right before the market close, the buyers tried really hard right off of this support. What does that tell you? It tells me that the buyers are getting desperate. They're throwing everything that they have. They're throwing everything that they have at this support here because they wanted to buy, right? So it kind of come like they're trying to live out the prophecy then of Euro CHF going to buy. And it might, who knows? It might. Maybe I am wrong. I am okay with that, right? But here's the thing. So far, everything else is aligning with a sell. Now, after this, you can actually see the market open with a bearish engulfing this previous candle, which tells me what? Bears have come back in. So I like to visualize the market as a big fight between, you know, bears and bulls, right? You know, when you're boxing, you have the center of the ring. There's one side is a fighter who is the bears, and on the next side is the fighter who is the bulls. And right now, if we are looking at the overall picture, who would you all see? Who would you all say is winning this fight right now? If it's bears fighting against bulls, who would you say overall is winning this fight? What just from looking at it, what would you all say? Anybody? What would you all say? Nobody? Nobody, buddy? Because in my opinion, if I were to just look at the direction and kind of make a guess, as people like to say, traders like to do, right? It's the bears that are winning. So now we could actually visualize this like the bears have the bulls cornered, and is punch after punch after punch, right? But as you know, in a fight, you know that obviously there are different rounds. So what you could actually find is little last wins, last stands, second wins from the bulls. You might see a big bull candle come up. But based on all of that, that is the bulls trying to fight hard to push back, right? Trying really hard to fight to push back, but it's failing. Now, here's one of the beautiful things about my entry as well. So let me move this one candle to the right. If you look at it, what does this current candle, this is the candle that I entered on, what does this current candle tell you about price action right now? So to help you, let me explain. This is a bullish candle because it closed bullish. Black candles for me are bullish, red candles are bearish. This is a bullish candle that is inherently bearish. How do you know that? It's actually very simple. It opened because, as you know, you have the O, H, L, and C. Right? I just realized that doesn't really look like a C, but well, L, sorry. Right? But we know that the black candles open here. They might go to the high, they might go to the low, but then they close. What happened with this candle? Wherever it opens, so we know it opened somewhere here, right? We know that's where it opened. We know it got to the high, but we know it closed down here. So it not down here, sorry, it closed right down here. So we know that for a fact that this candle closed bearish, right? It's black, but it closed bearish. What does that tell you? It is synonymous with sells. Does that make sense? Is it making sense? Now here's the thing. I see somebody say the whole chat going short on your CHF. Let me tell you something. This is not a signal, but this is me breaking down why I am making this decision to sell Euro CHF. I could be extremely wrong, all right? But here's the thing. If I am wrong, how many pips am I losing? Let's be honest. How many pips am I losing? I am losing 10 pips. But if I'm right, and I when I say right, I don't mean stopping here. If I am right, and it busts this zone to continue selling, who knows how many pips I can yield? Who knows? So this is something that I really found to be quite interesting that we could use today in our breakdown for the live, because if you realize I'm using simple criteria and reasons to kind of build a basis then, right? Does it mean that I'm going to win the trade? No. Does it mean that I win all my trades? No. I am very vocal and very aware of the fact that I'm not going to win all. But guess what? If I am right and it goes in my favor, and so far it's actually in profit right now. If I am right and it goes in my favor, right? Let's just see. I don't see it stopping, right? And proof of that is this exact structure has been repeated on EuroCAD. Because if I can remember, I think the week before, EuroCAD did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Now, I was wrong in terms of I thought that they would probably hit the trend line and then drop again. But if you pay attention, so I left that there purposefully because I want you to see that I was wrong. But I never got into the trade because it never showed me my entry, right? But in terms of coming to our all-time low, excuse me, coming to an all-time low. It just low. Everything about Eurocard low. The last 6 months, this is the lowest it has. This would have been the lowest it would have been, right? The last year, this would have been the lowest it would have been. The last 5 years, this would have been the lowest it would have been. Yet people trying to buy it. And you know how you know that people trying to buy it? Let's take a look. That is exactly what this zone is. A support. Everybody see that? So you can actually visualize where the bulls and bears are fighting in this region. And right here from this area, anybody who follows me and knows that I broke this down, you would see right from this area where Eurocard, people were anticipating for it to buy. It actually did not even continue to buy from there. In fact, if I got my entry, I'm not saying that I did because I didn't, but if let's just say I was able to get in somewhere up here, the amount of pips that this trade dropped was 372 pips average. So let's just say 370. I want you to take into consideration that I'm using a 10 pip stop loss on everything. So I want you to picture you take a trade with a 10 pip stop loss and it goes 372 pips in your favor. You know that you're not going to be able to capture 372 pips of anything, because that is assuming that you're going to capture the exact low. So let's assume, right? Let's assume that you capture, let's say, about 65% of that 372 pips, right? 370 pips. 65% of 370 pips is 240, right? I just did the calculation on my phone. 240. That is still 24 times what you risked with a 10 pip stop loss. Does anybody disagree with that calculation? Does anybody disagree with what I just said there? So even if you know that you cannot capture the entire move, I want you to remember, it is not about how many times you win or lose, because you can win 85% of the time. If your risk to reward ratio is crap, it don't matter, because when you do go into a losing streak, and you will, trust me, it is going to eat all of your profit. Anybody disagree with that? What do y'all think? Anybody disagree with that? So that's what I tend to try to get people to understand. What for me works. It might not work for you, but what works for me is having a really high risk to reward, not a win to loss ratio. All right? Win to loss ratio can only work if it is your risk reward ratio is really, really high. All right? So if you have, let's just say you have a 60% win to loss ratio, you have to have at least a 1 to 5 or higher to really be able to, to really see the gains then. But that's the thing. 1 to 5 is where I would typically begin. You understand? I would typically begin to get trades being taken out in profit at 1 to 5. You understand? So that's what I have thus far for tonight. So Euro CHF so far, it is in profit. Here's what I'll tell you all as well. Like I said, it's not a signal, but for me, I think that is still some safety in trying to enter here, but it's a little sketchy in the fact that obviously I don't sell candles, right? I do not sell candles. I sell buy candles. Selling a sell candle means you're selling where the candle is closing, and we know sell candles close to the low. With using a 10 pip stop loss, obviously it is extremely hard to enter on a red candle close and then to see the next candle open bullish and close bullish, and it's because it takes everything from you. I hate that. So what I have decided to do is, instead of selling a sell candle, I started to sell buy candles, right? And obviously you want the correct buy candle, right? So if, let's just say you get a candle, a black candle come up and do the exact same thing like this one here, where it comes up, it creates a big wick to the top side, and then it comes back down, closes really low. I would say that you could probably try to enter for your sell on your CHF. It's not a signal. Please use proper stop loss placement, proper risk management. If you don't use a stop loss, don't cry when you lose your account. You should always be taking trades with proper risk management. I don't care what it is. Just make sure whatever it is you're doing, make sure that you're using proper risk management. I see somebody said that UCAD is pumping. Let's take a look at UCAD. So on UCAD, so let's do a breakdown of that now tonight. Right? So we all again in a good mood because I just want to break down everything tonight. We look at that. I have something drawn up here as well. All right, so let's use the same thing again. All right, let's use the same structure again, right? So let's look at the last day, right? So the last day, this is from today, right? So this is where the day started. Let's look at the previous day here as well. So we know that the previous day's data is this. So we know that that is about the previous day's data, and we can say that UCAD has been ranging. So for me, this is a problem because of the fact that UCAD has been ranging for the past day. That's a problem. I want momentum. I don't care about the range. I want momentum. I want to see price moving in the direction that I'm interested in. So all right. So we know that one day is not enough data that we can use. 5 days worth. We can see this is 5 days worth of data. You can see that it is holding steady where it's actually, excuse me, I would say it's a big, I don't want to say a curve, but you could see that it has shifted from bearish to bullish within the last 5 days. All right, cool. Let's take a look at the last month. Last month, it has been holding steady underneath this area, underneath this zone, right? Last 3 months, we know that this is a very important area because now we know that somebody, some type of trader is going to be trying to enter for something up at this area. What do you all think it's going to do? What do you think? Who do you think is trying to enter up at this area? Who do we think is trying to enter the market up at this area? I'll give you a hint. It is sellers, resistance traders. All right. So for me, knowing the fact, let's continue zooming out. Right, 6 months. Last 6 months, we could see it's been bullish from here. Then it went into a range. It came down. It's been bullish again from since. So we could say the last what? So we know that the last 4 months or so, from March to now, it has been bullish. Let's look at the last year. We know that the last year has been bullish. Let's look at the last 5 years. On UCA, the last 5 years, we could say it's in a range, right? Because it's been bullish here, bearish here, bullish here. It's not clear. So because of all of that, because I now understand all of what I'm looking at, as much as I would like to see UCAD break this range, it's not enough. It isn't giving me enough data that I can trust to build a breakdown on. You understand? Or to build an analysis on. You understand? So for me, even though UCAD might get to this zone, and that don't mean I'm gonna just randomly buy it. You understand? Because it's not bullish enough for me to chance it. Yeah, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? What do you think about the analysis? Or what do you think about my thought process? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Am I missing something? Listen, I'm here to learn just like y'all, right? Not because that I trade and all that means that I know everything, because I don't claim to do that. Tell me, what do you think about what I said? Do you think I'm missing anything? Do you think there's something that I'm skipping over? What do y'all think? Right, I see Solo says your CHF is at a weekly support. That's good. That's good. I like that. That's excellent. Right? Am I missing anything on UCAD? Am I missing anything on anything that I said tonight? Does anything not make sense? Does anybody want me to take a look at anything so we can analyze it? Let's analyze something together. What do y'all think? So give me a pair. Let's analyze it together. No EMAs, no BS. Let's break down everything together tonight and see what we can do. Give me a pair. Let's look at it. What do y'all think? I want us to agree on a pair. I know people, and I just know people was going on. Somebody was going to say gold. Somebody. Look, no problem. So we'll take a look at gold just now. Right? I know everybody loves gold, right? Right? I know everybody loves gold, right? But let's take a look at it, right? We'll take a look at that just now. So I see 2 people say UJ, a few people saying gold, a few people saying GJ, somebody say Euro GBP. Sorry, so let's take a look at those 4 and then we'll call it a night, right? So Euro GBP, gold, GJ, and UG, right? So let's highlight those so we know what we're looking at. So we'll start with, so let's highlight Euro GBP, we'll highlight GBP JPY, we will highlight UJ, and we will highlight gold. So we'll start at the top. We'll start at Euro GBP. Let's do it again. Right? Good. So Euro GBP, you see I have a zone again. I have it highlighted. Right? Well, I realize I have it highlighted. So let's look at the data. From the last day, so we know that for the last day from today, since Asian session started, this is where the day starts. We know that obviously Euro GBP has been bullish. Let's look at this the data from the previous day, right? So we know that this is the previous day's worth of data here, right? So we can see that it bounced off of this low, created this low here, played on this low for quite some time, It went bullish, and now it's back bearish again, back on the zone, bouncing off of it. Not enough data that I can use. Let's look at the last 5 days. Last 5 days, if we drag this across, it's definitely not the clearest, but we can see that it's definitely ranging. So what I will do in a case like this, because it's not aligning, I'll bring this back over here. But what I might do, I might say, okay, just to confirm, I might just draw a box here just to find out, okay, yes, this has definitely been ranging. It's been bearish, then ranging, bearish again, then at a previous low or an ultimate low. All right, good. So for me, what I would do is let's continue to move out. Right, so let's go 1 month of data. That's good. We know from the 13th of June to the 13th to the 12th of July, which is today. Right, we know that it has been bearish. It has went back bullish again, or in a even bigger range, and now it's been bearish again. So we can see for the last 13 days or so, Euro GBP has been bearish. Remember, the more bearish confluences you can get, the better you can get at identifying if the market at present makes sense to look for an entry or to hold steady and wait for an opportunity, right? So we're going out. We're going to look again. We're looking for more data, right? Look at your CD problem. So remember, 1 month of data is saying that it has been bullish here, bearish here, range, bearish here, right? So you might say that Euro GBP is bearish here, so you should be looking for sells. But if you look at 3 months worth of data, this is now a conflicting idea. It's actually bullish. Let's look at 6 months of data. It's actually even more bullish. Let's look at 1 year of data. It's even more bullish. 5 years of data. It's ranging. So in a case like this on Euro GBP, I wouldn't even waste my time, because nothing about it is confirming to me at present that I should be looking for sells, because there's heavy momentum in the direction of my intention. Does that make sense? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Does anybody disagree? As much as I know you want to probably try to sell it because you want to see it break this low and just literally destroy all of the buyers who buying this. As I wanted to, I do. As much as you want to see that, it's not ready to do so. At least it's not giving me any consolation that it is. And I cannot buy it here, because if I buy it here, I'll be buying for the exact reason that everybody else is buying for. And as we know, you don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Yeah? So I would say Euro GBP, no setup. No setup, right? So let's continue. We're moving away from Euro GBP. That's done. And I wanna iterate something as well, right? You realize that it's taking me about, give or take, about 5 minutes to produce an analysis. What if I told you that I am doing this slowed down? I'm slowing it down so you can understand what I'm thinking. Anybody who knows me know the real speed when I'm doing this, listen, is seconds. Seconds I identifying that. From the time I realize, I watch where prices, I could give you a general idea as to, yeah, this ain't going to buy, this not going to sell, this going to buy, this going to sell, this going to stay here, because it is about knowing what it is you're looking at. You realize that I'm breaking down what it is I am seeing and explaining why I am thinking that. I always say this, and I said it in the Trading Nut podcast, right? This is very, very important. I said it. If you cannot explain what it is you know, it is because you don't understand it yourself. This is very simple. The next time somebody trying to explain something to you, right, and you realize that they're stumbling, they don't understand what it is they're doing, right? What I would tend to do if I don't understand is I'll tell you, hey bro, I don't understand the question. Could you reiterate it? I don't understand what it is you're trying to show me. Could you explain it a little better? That's what I do. I'll tell you, right? I'm not going to try to play like I know. Evilkin says, show how fast. All right, let's go. So we'll go to GJ next, right? You all want to see how fast I would do it? Let's go. More cells. That's it. I'm done. More cells. That's how fast. That's literally how fast I'm looking at it. So let's break it down now. Now, so we're going to look at 1 day's worth, right? So the last day, starting today, starting now, right? This is, we know that it has been bearish, right? So we know that this is the structure of the previous day, right? So the structure of the previous day is like that. You can see the previous day has been bearish, right? Mostly bearish. It started to go a little bullish here, but nothing to talk about, right? Let's go to the last 5 days. Last 5 days, we know that it started bullish, went bearish again, bullish again, bearish again. The last 2 days, we knew that it's been bearish. You can actually see that bearish lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. You could see that, right? But still not clear to me as yet in terms of if I had to break it down, right? 1 month of data. We could see, right? So this is now an area that we have to look at, and I saw that earlier just now. So we're looking at this. So you could draw that, you could pull that there. If it has to reverse, it has to reverse off of this area. Let me not say has to. If it is going to reverse, it makes sense that it reverse off of this area. All right, good. But we know that from the 12th of June, there's the 16th of June, we know that it has actually created a low here, and then it never got back to that low, ultimately trying but failing. And then from there, it went up, it created this high, and then started to go bearish from there, from say around the middle of June, coming down to the end of June. So almost about a month of data is bearish, right? Almost a month of data is bearish. Let's look at the last 3 months. Last 3 months of data, you have bullish here, right? But is this still, you have equal highs here somewhat? All right, cool. Let's see. 6 months, right? So you have bullish here. 1 year. Okay, so bullish here, right? You have bears here coming in, right? And then 5 years of data. Okay, so here's something that I want to iterate quickly, right? This is a contradicting idea. So you see this here now? See this? This is a problem. Because what is actually showing is, like I said, it's bullish, but you're seeing wicks to the top side. So one of the biggest things that I've realized is even though you would be seeing bulls, rejections is a thing, right? So you're seeing all of this bull momentum and you're seeing rejections right here. And that has been clearly denoted by, I think it was the 1 month. Yeah, right? So the 1 month of data. So the last month of data is bearish. That is telling me, based on these 5 years worth of data, that this month now, after seeing so much rejections to the top side, it's actually looking like it wants to come down. Now, something I want to make sure that is very, very clear. I said more sells. That don't mean I'm going to sell it. Because even though I'm telling you the direction I think it is going to try to go, I don't think that I have an entry. And because I don't think I have an entry, it'll be very foolish of me to try to enter, to sell it, when I know that, it's overall bullish, but it's rejecting. That's not enough information to confirm to me that I should sell it. So I could be wrong, right? But based on what I'm seeing, I think GJ could sell off, right? At least to this area, right? But I wouldn't sell it. I would not sell it here. So that's GJ, right? So let's go again. Next one is UJ. Well, I could tell you straight off the bat, UJ is buys. Right off the bat. Excuse me. Buys. Right? So for me, the reason why I could say that, and this is not me doing it, I didn't even analyze it. UJ, I've been bullish on UJ for more than a month. Right? More than a month. But let's do it, right? Let's break it down. So the last day of data, that's this. So as it starts here. And we know that the previous day of data, it has been bearish. Right? Good, that's fine. That's no problem. Last 5 days of data, it has been bullish. Last 1 month of data, it has been bullish. 3 months of data, bullish. 6 months of data, bullish. 1 year of data, bullish. 5 years of data, bullish. Right? And you can see, well, it never got back to this extreme low here. So in the last 5 years, this is literally the lowest it has been, but this is also the highest it has been. And looking at the last 5 years of data, you can see how this is a clear difference to GG. Yes, there are rejections, but you're actually seeing where price is coming up now. You can actually see where prices is actually pushing upward, and it's not showing the same amount of rejection to GG. So this is why I would automatically say GG would be sells, but UG would be buys. But because I know that they are both yen pairs and they could be positively correlated, it would be stupid of me to buy the yen against the dollar, but sell GG against the yen. It makes no sense. So because for that very reason, I would not do anything with GG, but I would probably look for buys on UG because my bias on UG is very, very strong for buys. So it's just a matter of then looking for an opportunity to actually buy it, right? And thus far, I'm not necessarily seeing anything that I could use, at least in my opinion. So I would just leave it alone for now. But let me see here if I could probably paint a picture for you. So if I had to maybe drop something, I would probably have this outlined, And what I would probably do is I would wait for price to get to the trend, not because I wanted to bounce from the trend. I want to see what price is going to do and how it reacts to said trend. Depending on how it reacts to said trend, obviously, well, then I would know, okay, yeah, it looks like it is preparing for the buy, it looks like it is preparing for the sell, blah, 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 blah. Right? And that's the UG. And then last but not least, even last night, anybody who knows me again, I called sells on gold, and I was right. And then gold was gold. Right? I was right. I literally, and I think one or two of you in here might concur. I said sells on gold and it sold, and then you know something, this happened. Right? Unfortunately, I did not have an entry, but I guess it is actually fortunate because if I did enter, guess what? It would have stopped me out. Right? I think I was in sales on NZD card and that stopped me out, and that's fine. Right? If I did capture an entry on gold, I would have been right, but it probably would have taken me out not long after me being right. Now, let's break down gold together. 1 day of data. So we know that for the day so far, it's been ranging. For the past day of data, we know that it has been bearish, right? And we know that the past day of data would have been this, right? It has been bearish, right? Let's look at the past 5 days of data, bearish, right? Ranging, eh? So it's definitely not pretty. I'll concur with that. It's definitely not pretty, but it is bearish. Last month of data, bearish. Last 3 months of data, bearish. Last 6 months of data, bearish. So you know you have bearish momentum on your side. 1 year of data, bearish. 5 years of data, right? Well, actually, no, sorry. 1 year of data is kind of in the middle because it's you could see that it went up and then it went back down. And 5 years of data, well, same thing here. You could see that it went up and it hasn't even broken this low yet. So we could probably anticipate gold probably trying to target this area because we know that if anybody is in a buy at this area and they don't have any stop losses, the dealer could probably try to target the stop losses of any buyers in this area. So I think for that reason it could sell. And I mean, these rejections to the top side are also concurring that data to me as well. But because of that, I don't have entry as of right now. But that's cool. That's what I think. I think it could sell, but I don't have an entry as of yet. Let's take a look quickly at Euro CHF. What it's doing? Am I losing? Am I winning? I don't know. Okay, so you remember I told you all that maybe a candle like this you can use. Let me stop and explain this very briefly, right? This is a problematic candle. Let me explain why. Even though it is a bullish candle with a wick to the top side, if you realize the price action itself of the candle is one that doesn't give me confidence because the length of the candle, let's just say this candle is a 15-minute time frame. So we know that each candle is 15 minutes. The duration of this candle lasted, or the session for this candle to be created lasted 15 minutes. So we know that the price action from the start of this candle to the end of this candle's creation lasted 15 minutes. And throughout that 15 minutes, it actually closed more bullish than bearish. So it's a bullish candle, but we know that candles can have attitudes. So we know that a bullish candle could have a bearish nature. This is a bullish candle with a bullish nature. So trying to sell here, you could probably chance it, but it's not this. This candle is significantly different to this candle. Does everybody agree with that? Does everybody see what I'm talking about? Does everybody agree? Does anybody disagree? What y'all think? Y'all understand what I mean by this candle and this candle? Even though they are both bullish candles, they mean two completely different things. Y'all see that? So that's what I have basically for gold tonight. That's what I have for Euro CHF. I am in the sell still. It is in profit. That's good. I'll take that. I'm happy with that. Yeah, anybody else want me to take a look at anything else before we close off? Anybody? I hope you guys enjoyed. Anybody wants me to take a look at any? I'm doing one more pair. One more pair. One more. Oil. I like that. Because that was the first one you say, we'll go with oil. Let's look at that. Oil is actually a really nice pair to trade, but it's, in my opinion, it's actually quite slow. All right. Okay. So, all right. Let me zoom out quickly. Yeah, sells. Yeah, sells automatically. Let's look. So the last days of worth of data, bearish. The previous days worth of data is bearish, right? The last 5 days of data, well, it was bullish here, but it's the last, I would say the last 2+ days of data is bearish. Last month of data, bearish. 3 months, bearish. So we know that we have, well, no, I lied. So you have from the start of the 3 months, it was bullish, but then from the, I would say, the second half of those 3 months, it started to go bearish. Let's look at the 6 months. Okay, so definitely you have a contradicting idea here. 6 months is actually bullish. Yearly it's bearish. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna change that analysis. Yeah, I think I'm gonna change that to, I would leave oil alone completely, because as much as I want to see it sell based on the current momentum, you see how when I go to the really high, or I don't want to say high, when I go to the long durations of the price action, when I go to the long durations, you start to realize that it's extremely bullish without any real rejection to the high. Yeah, I don't know if I trust this to sell it, even though it is bearish from since, actually it's not been bearish for very long, if I'm being honest. It's only been bearish since June. So I would say it could probably sell, but because it is mostly bullish, I would definitely leave it alone. It's not worth it to me to take it. Justin Lillard, I hope I pronounced your name correct. Bitcoin, I'm not even gonna take a look at it. Yeah, sells. Cam and myself were talking right before the session started, and we both agreed. We both agreed that Bitcoin is most likely going to continue to sell. He thinks it's going to go to about 9,000, 12,000. I think 4, because if we're looking at the data on BTC, let's take a look at it, right? I'm just gonna go to the extreme. Let's go to the deal, not the. Let's go to the monthly, right? The last known area where had a really big rejection is this area, which is about 4,000, somewhere there. This is the last. Look at it. Look at all of the price action. Look at all of the candles, and look at the last candle that has a big rejection. And I mean, with all of this momentum here, this is significant. This is a year's, almost a half a year, sorry, worth of bearish momentum with rejection to the top side. So I think it could probably come right back down to about 4,000 before probably trying to go back up. And I don't even need to go on the other time frames or durations to tell you that. I think BTC could probably aim for about 4,000, right? I could be wrong. Again, obviously, I'm not entering because of that, but I would probably hesitate to enter for anything. I probably hesitate to even hold Bitcoin until I see either it hit 4,000 or a clear rejection to the downside and clear momentum back to the upside, because overall it is bullish. Overall BTC is bullish, but I need to see clear rejection, something like this, in order for me to consider a buy again. What do y'all think? Anybody disagree? Anybody disagree? Anybody agree? What y'all think? So y'all get a good few amount of analysis out of me tonight. All right, you get a live trade that I'm in. I could lose, I could win. It don't matter. It really don't matter to me. Right? And I think that if I'm right on EuroCHF, that it is most likely going to break that low completely. If I'm wrong, I'm losing 10 pips, and I really don't care about that. Evilkin says AU. Well, they just want me to analyze everything tonight. All right, no problem. So let's take a look at AU. Right? AU. All right, so AU, let's look at the 15 minutes. So on the 15 minute, it's been bearish, right? So let's take a look. Excuse me. Last day, bearish. Previous day, or previous day's worth of data is bullish. Last 5 days is bearish. Last month is bearish. 3 months, bearish. 6 months, bearish. Right? You can see a big as a somewhat impulse buy, right? 1 year, bearish. Big rejection to the top side. 5 years. Interesting. All right. So let me talk about this here now quickly. So the last year of data is bearish, but I would say the last 2 years is actually bullish. But take a look at something here. I just noticed this. Where is it? What is this? This is an area I would say people will tend to try to look at this as maybe a key level, a key zone, whatever. They'll try to name it all kind of thing. But I'm willing to bet money that there are a lot of people, a lot of people, right, who will probably try to buy AUD USD right here because of this. And Based on that and based on the fact that it is overall bearish with big rejections to the top side, even though there's a big rejection to the downside, I think it could probably prioritize the sell. But as usual, I don't have an entry, so I would not try to sell it. At least not yet. At least not yet. Right? Oh God, IBS production say USDT. Oh God, I was hoping nobody asked for that, you know. All right, let's take a look at it quickly. USDT is a different kettle of fish because USDT is actually quite hard to analyze, right? Because USDT, I mean, let's be real, this is a different animal. So USDT from the overall, it's looking bearish here thus far, but let's take a look. The last day has been ranging. Previous day has somewhat also been in a something looking like a range. It never really created any significant high or higher low, right? Let's look at the last 5 days. Excuse me. Bullish, then bearish. I wouldn't say that the momentum is skewed to any one side. Month, same thing. It's bullish, but it's bearish. I don't like that. 3 months, bearish. 6 months, bearish. 1 year, bearish, but started with a range. 5 years, bullish. So you see that's a contradicting idea, and then there's no real reason for people to try to buy it. So even though that it is bearish, there's no trap anywhere for me to probably say, yeah, well, USDT probably going to try to sell because it's on a clear support trap here, and nothing about USDT tells me that I should be looking for buys or sells right now. At least today, in my opinion. Yeah. You day trade USDT, bro. Godspeed. Godspeed. All right. Godspeed, because I have got some really nice trades on USDT with a 10 pip stop loss, by the way. But I can tell you, I lose more than I win on USDT in terms of a win rate. I do tend to, once I win a trade, I am going to win a lot. I have won trades with 300-400 pips on USDT with a 10 pip stop, which is like a 1 to 40. I've done that multiple times, right? But the thing is, to get that 1 to 40 on something like USDT, because of how quickly and rapidly it moves, it's actually really, really hard for me to, to get that really good, precise entry. Yeah. Are you on tomorrow? I'm in UK, so for me tomorrow night. No, I'm not. On the live stream, no, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah. Any other questions? IBS Production says today I profit 150 pips. That's good for you, bro. I'm really happy for you for that. Congratulations on that. That's good. What was the stop loss on that, by the way? You know what? I'm gonna put that comment up. You profited 150 pips. That's good. What was the stop loss to capture that 150 pips? Or what was your risk on the big spike? What was your risk? Like how much stop loss or how much pips in your stop loss did you use? I'm hoping that you used a stop loss. I really hope that you did. No stop loss. Jesus Christ. All right, my brother, Godspeed. Godspeed. Because I don't believe in that at all, especially on something like USDT. Not me. I'm sorry. I am very sorry. I can't do that. All right. So, my friends, any other questions before we close off? Anybody has anything to ask me? Anything to add? Anything? Any queries? Anything that you want to suggest? Or can we close off? Everybody good? Any questions? Any comments? No problem, guys. Not a problem. It actually has been a lot of fun tonight. Yeah, tonight it's actually been really, really fun breaking down everything and kind of showing you what I tend to look for and why I make the decisions that I make and stuff. You can look forward to me probably trying to do that again for Asian next month. Right? I only come on once a month for the trading nut because I'm really busy otherwise. Yeah, guys. So I'm gonna close off here now, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your month, a safe and profitable, consistent rest of your month. All right. I wish you all of the pips, all of the profits that you can have. Right. And I hope that you use proper stop loss placement, proper risk management. For those of you who do not use stop loss placement or you don't play stop losses, please consider. Right. Trading multiple pairs is good or bad? As a question Kabil has. asks, it depends on what you are considering. All right. For me, I prefer to look at more pairs because there are more opportunities. But for some people, they tend to look at it as cumbersome because it's like you have to now learn other pairs, all right? Whereas you could try to master one. But the problem with mastering one is you're limited on the opportunities, right? So for me, how I tend to look at it is it's better to be it's better to have it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one rather than have an opportunity and not be prepared, right? You have to be prepared all the time if you're only trading one pair. But because I look at almost everything, I have multiple opportunities. You understand? So that's what works for me, right? But not everybody's going to look at it like that. Some people are going to look at it as, yeah, that's too much to look at, and you're welcome to think like that, right? You are absolutely welcome to think like that. So yeah, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this. I will see you guys give or take in about a month. I tend to do these sessions randomly every month, but I do have an agreement with Cam where I'm going to come on and do it once a month or so, because he wants somebody to do the Asian session for him. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed. Hit subscribe to the Trading Not YouTube channel. Like the video, like all of the videos. Comment if it is you have anything to say or add, or if it is you have anything that you don't understand, you can comment it as well, or you can reach out to me directly at Ikata Trading anywhere. Guys, have a great one, and I will see you all very, very soon.